I fell in love with the man that I married. He was great. He had no job, but it didn't matter because I stuck up for him. Then one day, I decided to get a loan so he can start his own business that he's always wanted to start. I never knew that my happy marriage would turn into this. I've always been a woman of ambition, starting from my high school years. Life always been tough, but I managed to scale through despite the ups and downs, as I've always had one ambition: to get rich. And also have a good family. I believed getting rich will solve all my problems, which it did. I grew up in a small family. My parents were not that wealthy, so during my college years I was working and studying hard just to sustain. I don't really go on outings either, or do I party at all. All my focus was getting good grades. Only that alone could make me ambitious. All of my friends will complain that I don't even have anyone to care for me, that they don't think that I'll get the perfect man with the attitude I put on. But all along, I always have believed that I will have the perfect man when the time comes right. I just have to make my dreams come true first. After graduating, I met my husband. He was a cool man, chatty guy with the same ambition and drive as me. We were a year apart from each other, and he was from a well-off family. He graduated a year before me and landed a big spot at a large firm, making a huge sum of money. My husband has never had the idea of setting up his company, but said if he did see a great opportunity, he would, but always focused on the work at his firm. My husband was always looking after me. He'll be in charge of cooking dinner, showing me respect, and even carrying my burdens, giving me a chance to rest emotionally and fully physically. We sometimes have picnics together, catch a show together. I was feeling love all along. With the thought of all my dreams beginning to come through, I have no reason to regret knowing him. He was an understanding man. He knows my expression, what I want and need. My friends that once doubted me having the perfect person in my life during college now get jealous of the man that I had and begin to question our love, and some even adore us. We look like the best couple in town, I hear. In any couples competition we go, and we end up winning. I was the happiest woman, having all these things falling in place as planned. 2 years after I graduated from college, I land a well-decent job. After a few months of, quote, me working, we both decided to get married as we were both well off. Well, I'm now 44 at this point, and my husband's 45, having 2 children, which they were both females, and they are doing fine. My husband never had any problems with me working, and also shared responsibilities with me. After years of working, my husband unfortunately gets fired, and he's withdrawn immediately. Even when he was sacked from his work, he still cares and loved for his family. He tried hard to secure many other jobs, but they did not employ him, which really made me curious despite his experience and certificates. Though we had some savings set aside as we suffered a few setbacks, as a lot of bills kept coming home, and just one of us was working. I had no problems paying the bills as my husband was unemployed. I was employed. We took care of the money and added it to my income to survive through the little challenges. We sourced our ways for him to gain his job back, even applying to new companies and all, which all turned vile, leaving my husband devastated. But I still gave him hope that there's a better chance of being employed due to the degree he has, though things weren't going exactly well. But I also got to create time for my children and take them out, help them with their assignments, and also help them out in any aspect as a mother will ordinarily do. You know, just care for her kids because they are the reason why I'm working so hard. But I also know my children can cope even while I'm busy because this is how I brought them up. Even when I'm still with their father, I am always busy. So they're used to that and what type of life we live. I do try to spend some time with them whenever I've limited time and show them love. A tired Monday, as I return home from work, my husband pitches his idea of starting a new company, and I did think the idea was great, but it came with a lot of disadvantages. And advantages in the aspect that it's a good idea to have your own company, but it's not that easy thing to start up your own company, especially when you don't have capital. My husband has always been a risk taker, and said he believed this idea would work. and he said he had little investment. I offered to give him the rest of the money, and our savings neglected the disadvantages. I even took out a loan. As I was working, the loan was granted. We started working on the plan, and I invested my time, my money, and my intention. Also worked to pay off the loan which I collected for my husband. I will say, the start was rocky, getting clients was tricky, and we once while suffered setbacks, which took a toll on the whole family. I shouldn't have supported my husband, but I believed in him and trusted him. We just have to fight for it through and endure, I told myself. Well, I told myself that for 5 years. After 5 years of working hard, all of our hard work paid off. The business started to make a ton of money, and the growth skyrocketed, making it a well-established and known company. My husband, being the CEO and of a prestigious reputation, starts getting a lot of attention from women. Hardly will discuss business matters with him. Whenever I try raising questions of how business has been, he'll yell back at saying I don't have trust in him and he can't handle the business all along. I just stay calm and try another topic not to cause a scene. I'd always trusted my husband and had no doubts he was faithful. Months in, and my husband starts to act weird around me. Coming home extremely late, at times not even sleeping at home, and always picking fights with me for nothing. I realize he takes more business trips than usual and returns home late at night with the excuse of he was busy. And had a meeting he had to attend considering how fast the business has been growing, though I have suspicions that this is not just about the company and stress from work. I keep my suspicions to myself and never cross the lines as a good old wife who sincerely loved her husband. My husband will travel for months, won't even give me a call, but just come back home with some excuses that he had lots of meetings and I couldn't get through my phone, and sometimes leave for the office and won't come back home the same day until the next 2 to 3 days without even informing me. My suspicions were getting more high, but I had this thought that, well, at least it's better than when he just stayed at home doing nothing, but now doing something and he's happy. But I couldn't neglect the fact that he's giving less attention to the family, most especially finding it difficult to fulfill his responsibility as my husband. My husband went out drinking with his friends. I quizzed him about what he got up to and whether any woman had shown him any interest. He was always adamant that nothing of that sort would ever happen. It did not cross my mind that, well, he's probably lying. I'll always indirectly tell him not to allow wealth to get over him, not knowing what my man's turning into. Days after, I meet up with a friend to catch up, and she tells me of the turn of events that she's had, which I was happy for. That at least she'll find a lucky man for herself soon, and one of her outings during our conversation, now she tells me how she sees my husband with an employee coming from a hotel frequently. I'm left baffled and explain to her that my husband has been on a business trip, but she shows me pictures of my husband with his employee. I've never thought my husband as a flirt, though he was with his attitude lately, but I believe he doesn't go around with ladies ever since we've been together. He doesn't fit the description of men I've known. To stray all the thoughts was on my brain. I'm furious but keep myself calm as I decide to dig deeper. I waited for my husband to return from his business trip, and when he went to take a shower, I went through his phone, messages, and I'm seeing the exchange between the two of them. I'm shocked by my husband's infidelity. This caused a lot of stress, distraction, and health issues for me that made me blame myself for trusting and putting my life on guys. The worst part of it is that he did as if nothing happened. From the messages I see the mention of his lawyer and a divorce, and dig deeper into his emails where I see a plan of divorce. I become furious and leave the house for weeks. My husband calls and acts all worried, but has no idea I'm aware of his infidelity and his plan to eventually divorce me. I couldn't get through the memories of the quality time we spent together. Not many weekends went by without a trip to the theater or cinema, a meal out. Every year we went for a family holiday. All of our friends would say we literally had the ideal relationship. Why? The question kept coming back repeatedly. What have I done to deserve this? All the thoughts was ringing in me, and I didn't state anything to him or question him once. I couldn't believe my husband could despise me to that extent, despite what we've been going through. Me working hard to establish the so-called business he's holding now, still paying part of the loan I collected for him just to establish the business, not collecting out the money he's earned from anything. What man could be like this? I even blame myself now for accepting and supporting the idea of him having a company not knowing till it will lead to a big old tragedy. Well, the deed's been done, I concluded. Money could change people. I just have to get a hold of myself. I therefore send him divorce papers first, which causes an uproar and a little bit of confrontation from my husband. In the divorce papers, I clearly state an alimony which my husband doesn't agree to, and he says we should meet in court about said alimony, but he has no problem with an alimony of his choosing. On the day of the hearing, my husband states that he has no problems respecting my decisions, but I shall have no part of his company since he worked hard. Therefore, remind him and presented evidence of his infidelity, and he blatantly denies it, saying my insecurity is getting to me. Well, I show the messages, and he's dumbstruck. I show how I invested 90% of his company, making me the largest and biggest investor, and how I legally own 75%, as I am the largest shareholder. The divorce is granted, and not that he would give me my shares always, but due to the bond between, he had no choice but to bear with it. I ended up owning the company, and then after a few months, I end up buying my husband's shares of the company that he had left. It took about a month, because now he was just having no money to sustain or run any of his business. So I now have full ownership of the company, and my husband now works for me. He's been downgraded, though, and I never wished to employ him, but I couldn't neglect the love I have for him. Completely, I can't leave him stranded. I don't think I'm wrong with the step that I took, 'cause, well, I'm not expecting such an act from him. This does leave me devastated some bits. This alone made me lose interest in getting remarried, but I turned out to be a very busy and hardworking lady. And his employee who cheated on me, well, yeah, she's been fired. Since we've both divorced, I got to mother and father my 2 kids. No time to spend with them. I'm just always choked up with work. I just got to continue, 'cause I have a goal to achieve ahead, on behalf of myself and my children. The thing has not been easy for me seeing the father of my kids working under me at the lowest level. This alone has been causing a lot between me and my kids, and other workers are taking me as a bad person. I have nothing to do about it. I can't sack him, only if he wants to resign. I've not been good without my husband at my side, and it's not easy for me to get to the office to see him working under me. But due to the circumstances on the ground, I gotta stay strong and work hard without putting a stop to my income, because I'm paying bills that are meant to be paid for 2 people. After some months, I thought my husband has changed, so I gave him more access to the company, but not as a shareholder, oh no, just a faithful employee. He'll always be the one to access the money in and out, not as an accountant, but due to the love I have, and they talk for my children. I can't bear my children's father suffering, so I just want him to see reason why I have to increase his salary. I've been in charge of the business for going on 2 months now, without knowing that my husband has been embezzling the company's money, despite the trusting him that he'll change, not knowing that he had more of a bad attitude inside of him after all. He also went to collect another loan in the bank using the company's documents to run it, and a lot of things best known to him, because when we were about to set up the business, we went to the bank to loan, and the loan was approved due to the fact that he made his loan request approved without my signature. Now, I face another surface of problem and debt, which I had to pay within limited time, that really caused a lot of strain going on in the company. I'm still paying the one we loaned together to start the business. The only means for me is to just keep gains coming in from the company wallet my husband has successfully stranded all the money, despite knowing I have to take care of the children now, and I completely know that there's no love but just lust. It was really affecting me to the extent that I had to stop my children from going to college for a while, because I can't afford their school fees again, and also stop some employees from working for the main time just to build the business up a little bit. I was distracted with a lot more that I could bear, seeing the man that caused this happening to my life, the man that betrayed me, the man that destroyed my storyline, my future, the man that used his own way of life to disturb his children's life. I could not control myself. I had no option other to finally sack him and jail him up. Now he has no access to the company, not as a shareholder nor employee. Now, I'm working harder to build the company and also sustain the family. What's up, guys? That was an intense story. Sorry for the grammatical issues. The story was just not really well written. Okay, guys, let's talk about this, though. If you were in the situation of OP, and you basically gave everything for this guy, and you just get backstabbed and betrayed, first of all, to me, the biggest red flags that just kept popping up left and right were the fact that he would go on these business trips for literally weeks or months or even days, just disappear and never call OP, not even text her. To me, that would have been a 100% red flag, and I would have gone ahead and just said, you know what, I'm done. Guys, what would you have done if you were in this situation, or maybe you have been? Go ahead and tell me your relevant stories in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys are new here, my name is Mr. Reddito. I read stories every single day, narrating on different channels, so you can check them out in the description. I'll see you guys in the next one, and remember, it's cool to be kind.